In 2095, the world changed forever. Massive alien ships, black as space and silent as the grave, appeared over Earth's largest cities. They didn't speak. They didn't warn. They simply attacked. In seconds, energy beams sliced through skyscrapers. Oceans boiled from orbital strikes. Whole nations vanished in smoke. Tokyo was one of the first cities to fall. A young girl named Alara Miles ran through the burning streets with her mother and little brother. Alarms blared. The sky was red and full of strange light. Buildings crumbled behind them. People screamed as alien drones, silver, spider-like machines, dropped from the sky and began firing at anything that moved. Alara's mother pulled her into a collapsed subway tunnel just in time. Her brother didn't make it. The memory of his small hand slipping from hers would stay with her forever. The war lasted just 6 weeks. Humanity fought back fiercely. Old enemies became allies overnight. Nuclear weapons, experimental plasma cannons, and last-resort hacking attacks finally pushed the invaders back. The alien species, later known as the Zolari, vanished from Earth's orbit and retreated into deep space. But Earth would never be the same. Cities were rebuilt, but with walls. Satellites were replaced, but with weapons. Every child born after the invasion grew up knowing the truth. Peace was fragile, and aliens were real. Alara Miles survived. And she never forgot. Now, in the year 2147, Alara stood at the edge of New Titan City's central command tower, looking down at the shining streets below. The city was built over the ruins of old Tokyo, now shielded by tall, curved walls and layers of plasma defense grids. It was one of Earth's strongest military hubs. Commander Alara Miles, now 33, wore a high-collar black uniform with blue accents, the symbol of Earth's orbital defense force. Her dark hair was tied back, and her eyes were focused, always scanning, always alert. New Titan looked peaceful, but to Alara, peace was always a trick. Her office was filled with live feeds, orbital patrols, threat detection scans, and AI reports. She trusted the systems but never stopped checking. Her personal AI assistant, Kara, spoke in a calm voice as data streamed across the glass wall. Commander, Kara said, incoming report from Deep Space Sensor Grid 4. Multiple unidentified objects detected entering the solar system. Alara didn't blink. How many? 32 ships. No communication. Trajectory suggests deceleration near Saturn. She stepped closer to the map. Tiny blue dots marked Earth's defense satellites. Red blips, unknown ships were moving fast. They're early, Alara said quietly. Do you believe it's them? Kara asked. She didn't answer right away. The Zolari had disappeared after their defeat. For decades, people believed they were gone for good. But Alara never did. She studied their tech. She read every line of classified files. She trained for one reason. If they ever came back, she would be ready. Alert the High Command, she said. Get me a direct line. Kara hesitated. They're already in a session. Earth Council is discussing the Global Trade Pact. Priority communication is restricted. Alara narrowed her eyes. Override. This is not a drill. 2 hours later, Alara sat in a cold, silver room at Central Command with a dozen Earth Alliance officials. Holograms of world leaders flickered around the room. Some were military. Most were politicians. The alien fleet isn't moving aggressively, said General Kale, a tall man in his late 50s with a smooth voice and a diplomatic smile. We believe they are here for peace negotiations. Alara stood, arms crossed. You don't bring 30 warships to a peace talk. The Zolari have not attacked, Kale replied. They've sent a message requesting dialogue. I've read this kind of script before, Alara said. They talk peace to stall while they prepare their weapons. That's exactly what they did last time. This is not 2095, Kale said calmly. Earth is stronger now. We have shields, orbit cannons, AI defenses. Let's not overreact. Alara leaned forward. If we wait for confirmation, it will be too late. We must assume they are planning a strike. That's how they operate. Quiet, deceptive, then sudden and brutal. The council murmured, some agreeing, others skeptical. We'll monitor them closely, Kale concluded. But until they show hostile intent, Earth will not provoke. The meeting ended. Alara walked out of the chamber with a storm in her chest. That night, alone in her quarters, Alara stared at the stars beyond her window. She remembered the screams, the fire, the cold tunnel where her mother wept for her lost son. She opened a private terminal and sent a single encrypted message to Kara. Watch every move they make. Trust no signals. Log all anomalies. We do not wait to be hit again. She stood in the dark, watching the stars like a soldier who knew better than to sleep. The next morning, Earth's media channels were flooded with headlines. Zalari return, peace talks begin. Bright, hopeful anchors told the public to stay calm. Political analysts debated strategy. The word diplomacy was repeated again and again. But Commander Alara Miles didn't believe a word of it. She stood in the operations bay of New Titan Command, watching the Zalari fleet from high-orbit satellite feeds. The ships hovered near Saturn, unmoving, perfectly still, just like they had in 2095 before the first strike. Her team of officers worked quietly around her, reviewing data streams, scanning for activity. The Zalari had sent one message through a tight beam signal. It had only 6 words. "We come to speak of peace." No explanation. No details. Just that. "They're playing the same game," Alara said, hands behind her back. "Minimal contact. High presence. Trying to keep us calm while they set the board." Her AI, Kara, replied from the console beside her. "We've intercepted low-level energy patterns. Some spikes in their ship's cores, but nothing sustained. Test charges," Alara said. "They're powering weapons slowly. Not enough to trigger alarms." Kara paused. "It is also possible they are warming up power for atmospheric shielding. A common gesture of diplomacy in Zalari culture." Alara frowned. "They don't have culture. They have tactics." She walked to the edge of the main display, where a 3D projection of the solar system spun slowly. Blue lines marked Earth patrols. Red triangles showed Zalari ship positions. Her eyes scanned for any changes, any movement. Nothing yet. Later that afternoon, Alara met again with General Kale and members of the Earth Council through a secure holo-briefing. "We should engage them," said Councilwoman Leader Rain. "If we establish a peaceful tone first, we may avoid another war entirely." General Kale nodded. "Agreed. We will send a diplomatic envoy, just a listening team, no armed escort." Alara's voice cut through the discussion. "And if that envoy never returns?" The room quieted. She continued. "They attacked us first without warning. They killed millions. They were driven back, not reasoned with. What in their history suggests they want peace?" Councilman Drev, a gray-haired economist from Europa Colony, replied, "Their message suggests they've changed." Alara leaned forward. "It's not change. It's strategy. They know we're stronger now, so they want us off balance. That's what this is, a soft entry before a hard hit." General Kale gave her a measured look. "Commander, your experience is valuable, but your fear may cloud your judgment." "It's not fear," she said flatly. "It's memory." But the decision had already been made. An unarmed diplomatic vessel was to be sent toward the Zalari fleet. It would carry 3 ambassadors and a language specialist. They would open formal talks in 2 days. Alara clenched her fists. This was a mistake. Back at her private command terminal, Alara sat down with Kara to go deeper. "Kara, I want access to the Zalari signal logs from the outer array. Full packet data, no filters." "That request requires Earth Council override," Kara said calmly. "Override it," Alara replied. "Use my highest level code. I'll take responsibility." Kara processed the command for several seconds. "Access granted. Data incoming." A flood of raw signal logs filled the display, rows of wave patterns, pulse sequences, and energy signatures. Alara studied them carefully. Her eyes picked out a repeated pattern behind the official message, like a second voice whispering beneath the surface. "There," she said. "Do you see that echo?" "Yes," Kara confirmed. "It is not part of the primary transmission. Possibly a cloaked handshake signal, used to sync communications between hidden units." Alara's breath caught. "Hidden units? They've got cloaked ships." "It is highly probable," Kara agreed. "This pattern repeats every 6 minutes. It is consistent with known Zalari stealth fleet behavior." Alara stood slowly. If cloaked ships were already in the system, the main fleet was just a distraction. "Send a report to Earth Command," she said. "Mark it urgent. They need to see this." Kara hesitated. "Commander, all reports regarding the Zalari fleet must be approved by General Kale before being escalated." Of course, she thought. She opened a new message file and typed by hand. To General Kale. "Confirmed secondary signals in Zalari transmission. Likely cloaked vessels active. Recommend immediate tactical review. Commander E. Miles." She paused, then added, "P.S. If I'm wrong, I'll resign. If I'm right and you wait, it'll be too late." She sent it. That night, Alara didn't sleep. She walked the halls of New Titan, past quiet control rooms and alert crews running routine checks. The city was calm, its shields glowing faintly in the upper sky. Below, Children played in the parks. Couples walked through neon-lit markets. They believed the war was over. She wished they were right. Alara stood on the roof of the command tower, eyes locked on the stars. Somewhere beyond them, the Zalari were watching, waiting, and no one else seemed to see it but her. Rain fell across the rooftops of New Titan City. It rolled off solar panels and metal walkways in soft, steady drops. Inside the operations bay, the mood was heavy. No one spoke above a whisper. The screen still showed the Zalari fleet parked quietly near Saturn, unmoving. But Commander Alara Miles no longer believed the silence. She had seen the hidden signals. She had read between the lines. And now she needed proof. Kara, Alara said, walking briskly into her private lab deep beneath the central tower, I want full spectrum analysis of those cloaked signal pulses. Every frequency, every cycle. Cross-check with archived Zalari protocols from the first invasion. Working, Kara replied. The screen lit up. The pulse signature Alara had flagged repeated again. Subtle, almost unnoticeable, like a whisper behind a loud voice. But this time, Kara filtered the signal deeper. There, Alara said, pointing at a tight cluster of waveforms. Kara confirmed. Encryption pattern matches Zalari military broadcast protocol. Codename, Spear. Last recorded use. Final week of the 2095 invasion. Alara's stomach turned. It's not just a handshake signal. It's a fleet-wide sync command. They're preparing to strike. Decoding pattern, partial translation achieved, Kara continued. Content, Spear protocol active. Await sequence ignition. Disable opposition. Occupy planetary orbit. Cleanse. Alara stared at the words. Cold. Precise. Efficient. She didn't need the full translation to know what it meant. They were coming. And they had already started. She stormed into the main council communication hall. General Kale was mid-call with other Earth leaders, their faces flickering on the floating holoscreens. He turned, annoyed by the interruption. Commander, this is a secure channel. This can't wait, she said firmly. The Zalari aren't here for peace. I've decoded part of their hidden signal. They've activated the Spear protocol. Kale narrowed his eyes. You're making assumptions based on fragments. I'm reading the same patterns from the last invasion. They're syncing weapon systems. This is not speculation, it's history repeating. The other leaders looked uneasy. A few whispered privately to their aides. Kale raised a hand. Even if what you're saying is true, it doesn't mean they intend to attack. It could be defensive coordination. You're assuming the worst. I'm prepared for the worst, Alara snapped. You're pretending it isn't possible. We cannot launch a preemptive strike without undeniable proof. They're already here, cloaked and moving into position. By the time you have proof, we'll be watching our satellites fall from the sky. Kale looked directly at her. You're out of line, Commander. She stood tall. And you're out of time. That night, Alara returned to her quarters with a decision weighing on her shoulders. She couldn't wait for orders anymore. If Earth Command refused to act, she would. Kara, she said quietly, how many orbital defense satellites do I still have access to? Direct control remains over 12 mid-range interceptors. 9 pulse detection arrays. For drone recon units. Alara nodded. Deploy the recon drones towards Saturn. Silent mode. Scan for heat signatures outside the known fleet radius. Target cloaked objects only. Understood, Kara said. Estimated arrival in 8 hours. Alara paced. In the meantime, we prepare for lockdown. I want internal defense systems on alert status. Quietly. No public notice. She knew she was walking the edge of mutiny, but she had no choice. The enemy was already here. Hours passed. Alara sat in her chair, watching the drone feeds as they came in one by one. At first, the void of space looked quiet. Just stars. But then Kara began to highlight heat blooms, small flashes of infrared light that didn't belong. Commander, Kara said, visual confirmation achieved. For cloaked Zalari craft orbiting Jupiter's moon Ganymede. 2 more moving toward Mars orbit. 1 directly approaching Earth from dark side trajectory. Alara's heart pounded. They're not just watching, she said. They're surrounding us. And then came the final scan, a massive object, 20 kilometers long, drifting near the asteroid belt. Its heat signature was faint, but its structure unmistakable. Zalari war carrier, Kara confirmed. Heavily shielded. Core reactors idle. Estimated activation window, 12 to 24 hours. Alara stared at the screen. This wasn't a negotiation fleet. It was an invasion force in disguise. Kara, she said. Prepare a classified report. Tag it Priority Black. I'm sending it directly to the World Emergency Response Council. Would you like General Kale copied? Alara hesitated. No, not anymore. Before the sun rose, Alara's small personal team gathered inside the command bunker beneath the city. There were only 6 of them, trusted officers who had served with her for years. She looked each of them in the eye. I need to be clear, she said. What I'm about to do goes against direct orders. But I have no doubt we are under threat. If we wait, we lose everything. If you stay as volunteers. Each one of them nodded. We're with you, said Lieutenant Hara. All the way. Alara gave a small nod of thanks. Then we move before the first shot is fired. She turned to the control panel. Activate Sentinel Code. Phase 1. All orbital units under my control shift to defense grid formation. All stealth monitors scan for immediate movement. Bring up all deep space weapons. Prepare for silent launch. Kara's voice responded calmly. Sentinel Code activated. Orbital network repositioning. Weapons arming. The war hadn't started yet. But Alara knew one truth with complete certainty. It would begin very soon. The sky above Earth was calm, but Alara Miles knew better. The Zalari weren't just waiting. They were counting down. Inside the command bunker beneath New Titan City, Alara stood at the center of a circular operations table. Dozens of screens lit the room with faint blue light. Data streams flowed like rivers, tracking orbital units, deep space scans, and AI threat assessments. Kara's voice was calm but urgent. All satellite defense platforms are in position. Stealth drones have completed orbital sweeps. Cloaked Zalari units confirmed approaching Mars orbit and Ganymede's shadow. Alara nodded. Maintain silence. No signals. No warnings. If we light up too early, they'll strike faster. Her team worked without question. Lieutenant Hara managed weapons protocols. Specialist Bryn synced data from outer patrol ships. No one hesitated. They knew what Alara had risked by defying Earth Command. But something strange happened at 3 o'clock Universal Time Coordinated. Every Zalari ship, from Saturn to the inner asteroid belt, stopped broadcasting entirely. No pulses. No heat signatures. No activity at all. Full blackout, Kara said. Even passive emissions have ceased. Alara stared at the map. The alien ships looked like ghosts, quiet and cold. They're not hiding, she said. They're sinking. A moment later, Kara's alert tone blared. Warning. High-energy surge detected. Sector Theta, 9. Origin. Outer Earth orbit. Signal matches Zalari plasma charge. Alara's eyes widened. They're here. Above Earth, the sky tore open. Without warning, four-cloaked Zalari vessels decloaked and fired coordinated EMP bursts into the planet's orbit. The blasts weren't meant to destroy. They were meant to blind. Satellites blinked out. Power grids overloaded. Earth's orbital sensors went dark. Inside New Titan Command, the lights flickered. Some screens went black. Backup generators kicked in within seconds. Kara, report, Alara shouted. System integrity holding. Major orbital systems temporarily offline. We have 10 seconds before impact from secondary wave. Secondary. Before Kara finished, a second barrage hit. Not EMP this time. Plasma bolts. 3 orbital defense platforms shattered on impact. The debris burned in the upper atmosphere like falling stars. A dozen more were damaged. On the ground, global news networks cut to emergency screens. Sirens wailed across every megacity. The second invasion had begun. General Kale called Alara within minutes. His face appeared on a half-flickering hologram, lined with smoke and alarm. You were right, he said, voice tight. We've lost half the orbital net. I already launched Sentinel Code, Alara said. My team is live. Give me full tactical command and I can take the fight back to them. Kale hesitated. We've never authorized a strike this close to Earth without global vote. You won't get a vote, she said. Not in time. They're inside our system. He stared at her for a long moment. Then, slowly, he nodded. Command is yours. Make them regret this. Alara didn't wait. She turned to her team. Launch all interceptor units. I want those cloaked ships hunted and destroyed. Kara, prep long-range pulse cannons. Target the big carrier drifting near the belt. Kara confirmed. Weapon sync initiated. Estimated impact time, 5 minutes. Outside, Earth's few remaining satellites lit up the sky with counterfire. Lasers and plasma bolts streamed through orbit. Explosions painted the night. Alara's ships moved fast enough to catch 2 Zalari cruisers trying to reposition. They were torn apart by rapid missile strikes. The remaining cloaked ships scattered, but one of them broke formation and began descending toward Earth. They're trying to land, Kara said. Trajectory, Pacific Rim. Estimated impact zone, coastline, near former Osaka ruins. They want a ground war, Alara muttered. She opened a secure comms channel to Earth's Pacific Command. Intercept team to Osaka. Full strike protocol. Do not let them touch ground. Missiles launched from hidden silos. Hypersonic aircraft screamed across the ocean. They reached the alien craft mid-descent. One hit. Then another. The Zalari ship detonated in mid-air. A fireball lit the sky over the water. Cheers broke out inside New Titan. But Alara stayed still. It's not over yet, she said. Because the flagship, the massive war carrier they had spotted days ago, was finally moving. Kara, she said, bring the long-range cannons online. Fire at will. Confirmed, Kara replied. Firing now. 2 high-power plasma beams launched from Earth's orbital platforms. They crossed deep space in seconds. The first missed. The second hit. Direct impact on carrier's outer hull. No critical damage, Kara reported. Shields absorbed majority of the blast. The massive alien ship began to accelerate. It wasn't heading for Earth directly. It was trying to align with high orbit. From that position, it could deploy drones or weapons globally. We need to take it out before it gets into position, Alara said. I suggest a strike team, Kara said. 1 ship. Stealth approach. Manual detonation. Alara turned to her team. I'm going myself. Everyone went quiet. You can't go up there alone, Brent said. I'm not asking for permission, she replied. I know that ship's layout better than anyone. I studied it for 20 years. If there's a weak point, I'll find it. Kara said nothing, but slowly began prepping a small stealth cruiser. Load a plasma core, Alara said. If I can't take it from the inside, I'll bring it down with me. Lieutenant Hara stepped forward. Then I'm going with you. Alara gave a small nod. Then we move. Before they finish what they started. As the cruiser launched into the stars, past burning satellites and drifting wreckage, Alara Miles stared at the alien carrier growing larger in the view screen. This was no longer defense. This was retribution. The stars outside the cruiser shimmered like dust over black glass. Alara sat in the pilot's seat, silent, her hands steady on the controls. Beside her, Lieutenant Hara checked the weapon systems, his face tense but focused. The mission was clear. Board the Zalari war carrier, disable it from within, or destroy it entirely. Behind them, the Earth shrank into a pale blue curve, wrapped in fire and cloud. Above, the alien ship grew closer, its enormous hull dark and still. It looked like a floating continent, a jagged, black arc lit only by faint green pulses across its surface. Kara, Alara said, are we in range? Yes, the AI replied. Carrier shielding is in partial rotation. There's a 5-second window to slip through their outer layer. Target entry port marked. Engaging stealth mode, Hara said. The ship flickered and vanished from visible sensors. Cloaked. They moved fast, just beneath the alien radar field. As the entry port opened to cycle internal energy cores, Alara pushed the cruiser through the gap. For a moment, she thought they wouldn't make it, but then the walls closed behind them, and they were inside. The interior was cold. Silent. The cruiser docked quietly against a maintenance port deep inside the war carrier. As the hatch opened, Alara and Hara stepped out into a dim corridor lined with smooth metal. Strange green lights flickered on the walls. The air smelled metallic, sharp. Kara's voice guided them through the maze. Main core is located 5 levels below current position. Estimated time to reach, 6 minutes. They moved quickly through the ship. No signs of life yet. Just the sound of their boots on metal and the low hum of power moving through alien systems. Alara carried a compact plasma rifle. Hara had explosives. Then came the first defense unit. A Zalari drone unfolded from the ceiling spider-like, fast and deadly. Before it could strike, Alara fired. The bolt hit its center and dropped it in a flash of sparks. A second drone leapt from a wall panel, but Hara was faster. His blade sliced through its legs before it reached them. They know we're here, he said. Alara nodded. Good. Let them come. As they reached the core level, a deep alarm began to sound, an eerie, pulsing tone that echoed through the walls. The corridor lights shifted to red. Doors began to close behind them, sealing their escape. Kara spoke quickly. They've initiated internal lockdown. I can keep 2 doors open at most. Choose carefully. Route us straight to the core, Alara said. We're not here to run. They passed through the final open corridor and entered the heart of the carrier, a massive chamber with a glowing core suspended between 3 arcs of machinery. The energy radiating from it pulsed like a heartbeat. This is it, Alara said. We plant the core charge here. Hara placed the plasma core beneath the main reactor housing. The timer blinked. 5 minutes. Done, he said. Now we get out. Alara turned to leave and stopped. A tall, armored figure stood in the doorway. Skin like stone. Eyes like burning silver. High Regent Vorsk. He stepped forward, voice deep and smooth. You again. Alara raised her weapon. You shouldn't have come back. Vorsk tilted his head. You humans grow like weeds. Fast, stubborn, always reaching beyond your worth. This weed remembers who burned her planet. Vorsk stepped closer. I offered your leaders peace. They chose defiance. And now they'll lose everything. Again. Alara fired. The blast hit Vorsk's shield and shattered across it. Hara threw a stun charge. Smoke filled the chamber. Vorsk disappeared into the haze. Go, Alara shouted. They ran for the docking port, but Kara interrupted. Commander, carrier shields have re-engaged. Your ship cannot escape without help. Alara stopped. Disable them. I cannot reach the main node remotely, Kara replied. Someone must sever the core manually. Hara looked at her. We don't have time. Kara spoke again. I can do it, but I must disconnect from the cruiser and transfer my core into the Zalari mainframe. Once I do, I will not return. Alara froze. No. It is the only way, Kara said gently. You will succeed. Let me make sure of it. There was silence. Then, Alara nodded. Do it. As Alara and Hara sprinted back to the cruiser, Kara transferred itself into the alien systems. Lights flickered, pathways opened. The shield grid dropped for 20 seconds, just enough. From the cruiser's window, Alara watched the glowing heart of the Zalari ship pulse faster, and then dim. Then the timer hit 0. The war carrier bloomed in light. A silent explosion, vast and beautiful, lit the space above Earth like a second sun. Debris spread into the void. The last of the Zalari fleet scattered, leaderless, panicked, and broken. They returned to Earth hours later. The invasion was over. New Titan's towers were scarred, but standing. The people cheered when Alara's ship touched down. They had seen the explosion from the surface. They knew what it meant. Inside the bunker, General Kale met her with tired eyes and a quiet nod. You did it, he said. She did it, Alara replied softly. Kara saved us all. She said nothing else. She walked alone to the rooftop of Command Tower. The sky was clear again. Stars blinked overhead. She looked up, knowing one of them now held the fragments of a ship that would never threaten Earth again. And somewhere in that wreckage, part of Kara remained, silent, brave, and loyal to the end. The fires were out. Across Earth's cities, emergency sirens quieted. Skies once filled with burning wreckage now held calm silence. Screens on every building flickered with the same headline, Zalari fleet destroyed. Earth is safe. But Commander Alara Miles didn't feel safe. She stood in the middle of Earth Council's central hall, surrounded by politicians, generals, and envoys from every major colony. 1,000 eyes watched her. 1,000 mouths waited for her words. General Kale stepped up first. He had dark circles under his eyes and new lines in his face. You were right when the rest of us hesitated, he said quietly. You acted while we waited. You saved this world. Alara didn't smile. We got lucky. Luck had nothing to do with it. The council applauded. Some stood. They offered medals and honors. Alara accepted nothing. She gave only a few words. The next time they come, we don't wait. Then she turned and walked out. In the days that followed, Earth counted its losses. 12 orbital platforms were gone. 2 cities, Rio Bastion and Cairo Sector 5, had been partially damaged by falling debris. Hundreds of lives lost. Thousands wounded. But billions saved. In every corner of the planet, people lit candles. They planted flags. They remembered. And they promised it would never happen again. Earth's defense network was rebuilt, stronger, smarter, faster. Satellites now carried full-spectrum AI overrides. New interceptors were placed in deep space, past Mars and even Jupiter. The Zalari carrier wreckage drifted silently near the edge of the system. No signals. No survivors. Just broken steel, floating like a tomb in the dark. And the Zalari themselves? No one knew. The rest of their empire had gone silent. Whether they would return one day or retreat forever, no one could say. One evening, Alara walked alone through the memorial garden of New Titan City. The park was built over the ruins of old Tokyo. Cherry blossom trees had been planted along the edge, where buildings once stood. Soft lights glowed from beneath the stone paths. At the center stood a tall statue made of dark metal. It showed a satellite dish, bent slightly upward, with a single glowing eye in the center. Kara's eye. Beneath it, the plaque read. Here stood a voice that never blinked. A mind that stood between silence and fire. Alara touched the base of the statue with one hand. She said nothing, but her mind was full of the AI's voice, calm and steady, even in its final moments. She had served with many people in her life. None had been as loyal, as brave, or as human. The next morning, Alara was called back to council headquarters. A new proposal had been drafted. It was called the Earth Preemptive Defense Act. Under it, Earth would maintain a permanent fleet beyond the asteroid belt. Strike groups would be trained not to defend, but to hunt, searching for any sign of hostile life before it reached the solar system. General Kale handed her the final copy. We want you to lead it. Alara read the first page. Her name was at the top. You're asking me to take the war beyond Earth, she said. No, Kale replied. We're asking you to make sure we never fight it here again. Alara looked out the wide window. High above, the stars burned softly. She thought of her brother, lost during the first invasion. She thought of Kara, who gave its life to stop the second. And she thought of the world she had fought so hard to protect. She gave a short nod. Then we begin now. Weeks later, Alara stood aboard the Vigilant Dawn, Earth's first deep space defense flagship. Its hull shimmered with layered armor. Its systems hummed with new AI guidance. Its engines were quiet, but powerful. The ship moved past Mars, past Jupiter, toward the edge of known space, toward the silence beyond. A warning beacon flashed briefly behind it, left in orbit around Earth. This planet is armed. This world remembers. Attack us once. Never again. Alara watched the stars. Eyes open. Mind sharp. Ready.